So between about 7 high Seattle officials, they deleted several 100,000 text messages back and forth between them about CHOP. Yesterday, King County Prosecuting Attorney's Office, they said, you know what? It was all just a coincidence. I mean, we got Harold Scoggins. He's the fire chief. He's just old. The mayor, she was trying to reset her phone. I mean, the odds of this happening are slim to none, but this is what the King County Prosecuting Attorney's Office comes up with. I call nonsense. This is ridiculous. Let's get into it. Here we go. So the King County Prosecutor's Office announced yesterday, that it will not move forward with charges related to a series of deleted text messages from city leaders during the events that led up to the Capitol Hill Occupy protest, CHOP. That's what we're talking about. In 2020, it was discovered that then Mayor Jenny Durkin had deleted text messages on her city-issued phone sent and received between October 30th, 2019 and June 24th, 2020. It's just so coincidental that all of these text messages happened within the time frame of CHOP. They were sending text messages back and forth. Text messages for parts of that period were also missing from the phones of former Seattle Police Chief Carmen, Seattle Fire Department Chief Harold Scoggins, and a series of other high-ranking Seattle Police Department and city officials. Let's go look at what who those other officials were, right? Because, yeah, there's a handful of them. Here's your list of the Seattle officials that miraculously, just somehow their texts were deleted from their phones. Keep in mind, it is illegal to do this because this is a part of record keeping that all of these officials undergo training on. Text messages as a city official, you gotta keep them. By that time, this is an article from January 2023, when a judge sanctioned the city of Seattle for all these messages being deleted. By that time, former Mayor Jenny Durkin, Police Chief Carmen, Fire Chief Harold Scoggins, and 4 other key city officials at the time, Assistant Police Chief Eric Greening, Seattle Public Utilities official 𝗪𝗏𝗪𝗏𝗧𝗛, Seattle Police Department Chief Strategy Officer Chris Fisher, and Seattle Emergency Operations Center Coordinator Kenneth Neefsey. That's 7 people. That's 7 of Seattle's officials that were dealing with how CHOP went down. And all their messages are just deleted. They had deleted thousands of text messages according to the judge's order. Notably, all text messages sent directly between these officials during the CHOP period cannot be reproduced or recovered. The order also questions former Mayor Jenny Durkin's reasons for her phone being purged. Durkin claims she dropped her phone in the water in July of 2020 and that someone set the phone to delete text messages older than 30 days. There's a setting on the iPhone, right? And everybody knows you're an official. You got to retain those records. No on the delete after 30 days. You got to retain them. However, a forensic report filed in September 2022 as part of the Hunter's Capital lawsuit found around 200 messages from the CHOP period had been deleted manually from the former mayor's phone. What? Shenanigans, I say. What do we have going on here? Is this a cover-up? I have no proof that it's a cover-up, but the odds of this happening to 7 of Seattle's officials, 7 that were involved with CHOP, it makes you go, I don't know. The report also said that the texts of several other key officials were destroyed through phone reset clustered within the same month. They all reset their phone during the same month. That's weird. In his order, Zilli wrote, Mayor Durkin's various reasons for deleting her messages strain credibility. I love that, Judge. I love that. I agree with you there. This strains credibility. I need to remember that one. It's such a good one. Notably, former Police Chief Carmen Best's phone was also set to delete text messages after a month, despite her obligation to keep them due to pending litigation. They'd already been sued. Judge Zilli noted that the former chief apparently deleted more than 27,000 of those text messages by hand. Ooh, yeah. But hey, you know what? This is all just a coincidence. I mean, things happen. Plunk goes your phone in the water, right? On my boat, we are up to, I think it's like 17 cell phones have gone in the water over the last 3 years. Yeah, I mean, I keep a tab of that so that the next unfortunate young person that drops their phone in the water, I can say, hey, you're not alone. You've joined a group of 16 other folks that have plunk, phone in the water, gone. By the time Best resigned on September 2, 2020, no text remained on her phone prior to that date, the order stated. Additionally, Zilli ruled city officials were aware of their obligation to preserve messages on both city-owned and personal devices. It's so incredible. Tens of thousands of text messages. While the city has been able to recover around 161,000 text messages from that period, key text messages from the CHOP period between Durkin, Best, and Scoggins cannot be restored. So the excuses for this are just absolutely crazy, but it's because they had such liability. There's multiple lawsuits. All right. What's the only form of confirmation that of how all of this went down? Text message, because it was happening on the fly. They weren't emailing. They weren't calling each other. They're in group text messages. Oh my gosh, what are we going to do? We're being sued. Oh, I got it. Let's delete them all. Can we do that? I don't know, but if they can't find it, not guilty, right? Maybe the city will do a little sanction. Yeah, we'll get off scot-free. That's exactly what has happened. So an investigation from the King County Sheriff's Office that wrapped up last week concluded that there was no single factor that led to the destruction of text messages belonging to high-level city officials during this 4-month period. Just, I want to know, odds, somebody out there that knows probability, maybe somebody in insurance. What are the odds, and I've asked this before, what are the odds, roughly, that 7 high-ranking officials that all worked on coordinating the CHOP, Chaz debacle that it was, what are the odds that all these text messages just, disappeared, through circumstance? I mean, is it in the billions? I don't know. The odds of this happening have to be just astronomical, right? All right. I mean, happenstance. Rather, it was a perfect storm of training delinquencies. All right. We got training delinquencies. What a bunch of crap. Outdated and conflicting policies and procedures. No, you knew you had to retain them because this is your record keeping. This is your job. This is part of your job. If you have this happen in the private sector, boom, done, and probably sued, right? That's just what happens. You did what? Oh, yeah, that's not going to work out well for you. And insufficient safeguards to prevent the loss of records that primarily contributed to the destruction of these messages. Basically, this is from an executive summary of the King County Sheriff's Office investigation. You're basically saying, yeah, there were some issues, all the text messages got lost, and we can't work it out either. We just don't know. But we're not going to prosecute you because, we don't have the ability to say that you did this on purpose. Therefore, it's going to let you off, and you guys just go do your thing. For Durkin, it was determined that a setting on her phone had changed to only keep messages for 30 days, sometime in July of 2020. That thing got changed? Weird. That's weird, isn't it? Once that change was made, all texts for that October 19th to June 2020 period were permanently gone. Then in August of the same year, an old phone of Durkin's was factory reset by a city IT employee, deleting all remaining text messages on the device. A city employee did a reset. Why? How come? I mean, if you're an IT worker, you understand that this is record keeping. These are city officials. They have a legal obligation, and they actually go through training on how not to delete messages. Yeah. But anyway, a month later, in an attempt to recover those missing texts, the same City of Seattle IT employee performed another factory reset, again destroying any texts on the phone. What? What? I mean, this was on accident? You're telling me this is on accident? This is how IT handles it? I mean, is this straight up this is on purpose, right? In my opinion, this is on purpose because they had massive liability, because they organized this and they basically said, Seattle Police Department, you're going to exit the East Precinct. We're going to give it over to Black Lives Matter and Antifa. They're going to occupy it. And we're going to let these protesters just do their thing because this is what we're doing in Seattle. And then, 3 weeks later, it was July 1st. It got shut down. I had superfan Samantha. She told me like a month ago, hey, they didn't chop down on August, even though you were there, Sean. They didn't chop down on August 1st, like you said. And I'm like, man, it only really covered about 3 weeks. CHOP was only around for about 3 weeks, right? And this whole thing is just insane. And then, it ends with a couple of black kids getting murdered, right? And then, oh, good Lord, we need to cover this bad boy up. That to me is the optics of what you've got going on here. I have no proof. I am not the King County Sheriff's Office, but from just a reasonable standpoint, the odds of this happening are slim to none. Let's just go there. How about that? These two factory resets also prevented investigators from pinpointing exactly when and on which phone the above change to keep messages 30 days occurred, which resulted in the loss of Durkin's data. Chief Best's situation differed from Durkin's. We got Carmen Best, with Best testifying in a civil suit that she routinely deleted text messages off her phone, believing mistakenly, they're just covering up for her, mistakenly, she didn't know. She didn't know. That's my opinion. Mistakenly, that the city of Seattle was automatically archiving all texts in a cloud, just like her email, and that she was simply removing the texts off the device itself. Why? Why were you doing that? Why wouldn't you just let it run? Yeah, good question, right? Do you go through and delete your text messages? That's one of the things that I, on my phone with my youngest son being dead from probable drug overdose, all those text messages of his, I just want to leave those on my phone. So, all right, I just want to go in here and just delete everything. Delete. No, I don't think so. Especially when you've gone through training and you've had people say to you, don't delete them. This is part of your job. This is record keeping. In reality, Best's phone had disabled the messages in iCloud function. Who did that? We don't know. Fire Chief Scoggins' messages were deleted after he reportedly forgot the passcode to his phone. I'm sorry, Chief. I know you're probably my age. But come on, man. And he was told at an Apple store to use a hard reset to get back into the device. That is almost believable. But what are you doing taking it to the Apple store when you're a city official? You should have that same IT guy working on your phone, right? Hey, figure it out with the IT guy. That's why you have IT guys and you don't take it to the store because they're going to wipe everything, which is a violation of law. So there's that, right? He later said that he didn't realize a hard reset would delete his phone's data. You know what? That's the first thing they'll tell you at the Apple store. Okay, if you do a factory reset, you lose everything. You lose everything. There's nothing that you retain. Nothing you retain. Similar to Best, the iCloud backup for Scoggins' phone was also disabled. Okay, here's the good one. Scoggins, Fire Chief Scoggins, was not technically proficient and only used his phone primarily as a telephone, call people up, and for its calendar function, the King County Prosecuting Attorney's Office further clarified. Oh, well, that's a relief. He didn't have to follow the law. He doesn't have to follow the law. He's just technically incompetent. Yeah, it's okay. He's old. I know Fire Chief Scoggins has got like 30 years of experience. He's probably, is he mid-50s? Probably, right? Early 50s? I don't really care. But you know what? That's not an excuse for not doing your job. Scoggins was not technically proficient. You had one thing to do, and that's retain your records. That's all you had to do. Leave your phone alone. If you're not technically, proficient, don't jack with your phone, because you're going to have some jackass like me commenting on it, right? Many of the employees wrongly assume that the city of Seattle was automatically archiving data. Don't they have meetings on this? Don't they have training on this? Similar to Best's assumptions. Well, we all just assumed they were being backed up. Oh, they weren't? Oh, these messages were not being backed. Oh my gosh. That means they're gone forever. What are we going to do? Now we're going to avoid all that liability, all those lawsuits floating around out there. That's what we're going to do. Don't say that part out loud, though. That's not good. Notably, the city of Seattle prohibited use of iCloud backup setting. In its decision not to move forward with charges relating to the destruction of public records, a Class C felony, that would have been entertaining, the King County Prosecuting Attorney's Office noted that the prosecutors would need to establish malintent and prove that the messages were deleted willfully. Okay, okay. Understood that you can't prove that, but the odds of this happening again, what are they? Somebody throw me out a number. What are they? Put in the comments what you think the odds of this were. If you are in insurance, if you are somebody that knows stats, if you know probability, let me know what you think. And give me a quick breakdown of what you think the odds of this happening randomly. Did this randomly occur? I don't think so, folks. We got to cover up here, but we can't prove it. And this is kind of the end of it, right? There is no evidence that the involved individuals intended to permanently delete anything. King County Prosecuting Attorney's Office described, in all but one instance, the facts reflect that involved individuals actually were trying to recover access to their phones, which, due to a confluence of technical issues, unfortunately resulted in loss of data. Weird, right? This is some wild stuff. In May of 2023, the city of Seattle paid out over $2 million to a pair of whistleblowers who had initially revealed the deleted messages while working as public disclosure officers. Hey now, 2 million, you've got liability. You paid out 2 million. That means, well, yeah, okay. Yeah. I mean, well, they claimed the city had compelled them to resign and sued over lost wages, general damages, and legal fees. All right, let's get this straight. So these 7 officials accidentally deleted the texts off of their phones, but 2 employees who were whistleblowers said, no siree. Here's what you got. Here's what you did. Here's what you deleted. And then they resigned, and then they sued over lost wages, general damages, and legal fees, and they got paid $2 million. Okay. I mean, sometimes they just settle because it's more expensive to fight the battle and go to trial and all that stuff on a big scale. But City of Seattle had the resources to do that. And they're like, okay, let's pay this out. Let's get this issue to bed as soon as we can. So liability here is just, none. And that's exactly where we sit. There's no liability. City of Seattle basically just got away with it. There's no repercussions for leaving a multi-block area in Seattle wide open without 911 protection, without fire service, without police service, without EMT service. And 2 black kids had their lives ended. So, how's that work out? And nobody really ends up paying anything. And the lawsuits that have happened, there's been multiple lawsuits from the father of the 16-year-old kid who got shot in his white Jeep, kind of a Grand Cherokee vehicle. And then the 19-year-old kid, Anderson, he was the first kid that went down, and they tried to get him to the hospital. They tried to get 911 to come, but the EMTs had to have the police come in and clear the area because it's a crime scene with a gunshot, and they don't go in unless the police are able to go in and clear it out first. Well, there was a no cop zone. City officials created a no cop zone, and this poor kid, either bled out or died on the way to the hospital, or just horrible. I mean, just a horrible scenario. Meanwhile, city officials are going, oh God, this isn't looking good. This isn't going where we want it to go. This is a train wreck of events. We need to sweep this, whole thing out. We need to get, the summer of love went wildly sideways. Became the summer of 2 kids getting murdered, right? That's what happened in the end. And city officials basically got away with it. That's what happened. That is the bottom line here. City officials got away with it. So, that being said, I know there's still a couple of lawsuits hanging out there, but without the information that would have come from these text messages, they're not going to go anywhere. It's not going to go anywhere. I think a couple of them have been settled. I know there was a $500,000 settlement or $350,000 settlement to one of the parents of the kid. I think it was the dad of one of the kids. The mom of the 19-year-old still has a lawsuit going. But again, without this information, without being able to ascertain, all right, who said for the police to leave? Who made that decision? Without all of that information, proving liability is, it's impossible, right? It's impossible. So these lawsuits go absolutely nowhere. So was this a cover up? I mean, all these text messages miraculously being deleted. The odds of that happening, again, yeah, not likely, right? Not likely. And the fact, take the 7 people and take the fact that the phone messages were deleted. 2 things right there. And then the time period of which they were deleted. You just throw in those factors. Somebody give me some probability. Slim to none. I say, that's where I say slim to none. And that's why I say I have no actual proof that this was a cover up. But, if it walks like a duck and talks like a duck, it's a giraffe. Nah, it's an effing duck, right? So yeah, there you go. So, but don't worry. City of Seattle is just going to move right on to record-setting year of murders, and we're going to call it good. We're going to put that whole CHOP thing behind us. It's all good, folks. We're doing stellar. Thanks for being here. I'll catch up with you on the next podcast. Bye for now.